Okay, so I want to share a stupid sauna story with you today that happened to me. Something that I thought was super weird, maybe similar for you, but it kind of taught me a bit of a life lesson, if you want to call it that. So I went to the gym today. In the morning, I always try and go to the gym, get my suffering out of the way. I did some sprints, it was fun. Then after my sessions, I try and do 20 minutes in the sauna. You know, there's some people talk about heat protein, shock proteins, ice baths, all this sort of stuff. My version is I try and sauna. Now, I go into the sauna and there's some guy sitting there. He's been in the sauna maybe two or 3 minutes. And he was like, do you mind if I make the sauna hot? I was like, I'm cool. Like, whatever you want to do, I'll do. And he then goes, oh, but I like it really, really hot. I was like, okay, cool, make it really, really hot. So he poured the whole water thing on the sauna, you know, and steam comes up and there was some like eucalyptus in it to give me, I don't know, it felt hot, you know, it was warm. And then this guy who asked me if he could make it hot, made it hot, lasted like a minute, and then he left the sauna. And I just thought, what was the point of that? Like, why is this guy who was in the sauna doing whatever his routine, because I came in, he felt this air of like competition, I guess, like, oh, there's a big strong man in here, I got to look big and strong, I'm gonna make the sauna really hot. And then after a minute he quit and he left. And I was like, this guy has interrupted his own therapy, his own sauna, his own time to try and impress me for some weird reason, and then ended up leaving and not completing his own therapy. For me, I do 20 minutes. I go in, doesn't matter how hot it is, who's there, what's going on. I finish 20 minutes and I leave. I do a little bit of stretching, whatever. This guy, instead of doing his own thing, interrupted his own flow and his own life and his own schedule to try and impress me, and failed. Obviously, he doesn't know that I'm a ex-UFC fighter that used to cut 20+ pound weight in the sauna, and you can make it as hot as you want, and I'm not going to leave because it's just the kind of man I am. So for some reason, he wanted to like fight with me, and it got me thinking, how many of you are competing with other people and it's sabotaging your own life? Like, it's causing you a problem. Rather than helping you, it's hindering you. And then I really started thinking about it. I was like, all the guys that are trying to impress other people, that are looking for external validation, that are constantly trying to, you know, just be the man. I think this is such an important lesson, and it's so important that you have an ego, and that your ego is pushing you forward and powerful, but your ego isn't getting in your own way. I think a lot of people get confused about ego being good and ego being bad. I think ego is super, super important. I think competition is super, super important, and it should push you hard and really make you feel, you know, like, I want to be the best, I want to win this, but it shouldn't do that to compromise your own drive and your own journey. It shouldn't make you try and compete with someone, lose, and have to leave the sauna because you can't handle a bit of heat. It doesn't help you. But then I'm thinking about, like, maybe you'll understand as well, I don't know if you got like older guys in the sauna, or older guys who couldn't care less, out of shape, show up, drop the towel, stretch a little bit, show off their dick. They're not bothered. But it's because the only reason they're not bothered is because they're out the game. You know, every time you meet another man, or me at least, and every time I meet another man, there's a level of competition there. There's always a level of competition. Can I take this guy? Yes, I can take this guy. Sweet. That is because you're a competitive animal. And I think that competition drops and dies the older that you get. And we need to hold on to that. We need to make sure that that's pushing us forward and making us better. And the moment you give up on that, you become the old fat man in the gym that just drops his trunks and isn't bothered, who sees his junk and walks around and like that. People think it's like because you don't care about other people anymore. I think you shouldn't care about other people's opinion. They shouldn't affect what you do. You should do what you do because you want to do it. And if that's got a competitive drive to it, then fantastic. But that shouldn't affect you to make you do what the guy did and overstretch and try and make the sauna as hot as possible because he's trying to show off or outman me or do whatever he's going to do and then fail. Because you're just interrupting your own projection. You're interrupting your own capabilities by trying to impress other people. So you have to be super cautious of this, and you have to try and do what you set out to do. And the only person that you should compete with, and you should be competitive, but the only person you should really compete with is yourself. So if you said, okay, I'm going to do 20 minutes in the sauna, but you only do 5 because you try and compete with me and you lose, then you lost. You didn't just lose the competition against me, but you lost the competition against yourself. Whereas if you wanted to compete with me and you still did those 20 minutes and I was going to stay in for an hour, and you think, oh, it's not worth it, I'm going to leave. At least you still won your own competition, and you're still moving forward in your own way. I think the big problem that we have is people are saying that ego and competition are bad things. I think they're super, super useful things if you use them in the right way and you channel them in the right way. Don't let them get in front of you. Don't let them waste your own time. Don't let them make you quit because you're trying to compete up here when you're only at this level. You need to raise your level bit by bit by bit. I talk about layers of pressure and how you should slowly increase your layers of pressure to become this guy. Don't be here, try and compete with this guy and try and make that big leap. You got to make that big leap by small increments of becoming better, becoming better, becoming better. All of this came to me from a stupid sauna session, but it blew my mind that this guy would try and compete with me on something so arbitrary like the sauna, because I would never be asked. And even though he did it and he lost and he wasted his own time, so he was only in there for 5 minutes in the sauna. I stayed in for the 20 like I said I was going to stay. It doesn't matter how warm it is, I do exactly what I say I'm going to do. Got it done, finished, but it just came to my head like, this guy's getting in his own way by being competitive. You have to channel that competition in the right way and make sure that you're not sabotaging yourself. I hope that's not what you're doing. And yeah, hopefully this random thought of mine that come to me helps you guys out.